Thoughts to Build on by KOPMEYER, 23. Chapter 23. The Gentle Art of Letting Alone. Having retired at the relatively early age of 50 so that I could dedicate my full time to helping others, I have undertaken numerous projects, which it is not the purpose of this book to describe, except one, which follows. I have been interested in exploring the question of why people, almost all of us, get involved in so much unpleasantness, so many problems, so much trouble. It seems to be a natural human failing. I started by analyzing, as far as I could remember, my own past tendency to become involved in unpleasantness, problems, and all sorts of difficulties, small, medium, and large. To my own half-century of trouble involvement, I added that of many other people whom I have known or read about. So my sample, as researchers would call it, was quite large and adequately diversified, at least sufficient to provide some helpful conclusions which I now would like to share with you. First, let us admit that there are some dedicated troublemakers among us who, for various psychological reasons, are driven to cause trouble. Later in this chapter, we will discuss how to handle them. But it is the unintentional involvement in trouble by the rest of us that we primarily want to consider now. After extensive study of this strange phenomenon, it turns out that, in most cases, all avoidable, we ourselves are the culprits. We unintentionally and inadvertently do, say, or write things that become the causes of our own troubles. Or we unnecessarily escalate potential trouble into real trouble. And often we persist in a cycle of action and reaction that not only maintains our involvement in trouble but increases it. We haven't learned the gentle art of letting alone. In most cases, all avoidable, we initiate our own troubles by two actions. 1. Unnecessary involvement or, much worse, over-involvement, and 2. Unnecessary reaction or, much worse, overreaction. Let us briefly examine both of these ways in which we unnecessarily and inadvertently cause ourselves trouble. 1. Unnecessary involvement or over-involvement. It is not necessary for us to join every conflict, take sides in every cause, especially controversial ones, and thus gain an additional supply of enemies. Yes, admittedly, we may also gain some friends, but the enemies made in controversy seem to remain long after the friends we have become mere acquaintances. Anyway, there are many quicker, easier, better ways to make friends. But there are few quicker, easier, better ways to make enemies. We should use the gentle art of letting alone. Over-involvement in too many causes spreads our time thin, drains our energy, and disrupts our lives. We do not have to accept every task, shoulder every responsibility, or assume every burden offered or even forced upon us. We must follow the advice in Chapter 19. Turn our wheelbarrow upside down, or people will throw their burdens into it, making them our burdens. If we go around collecting burdens randomly, we will soon break under their weight. No one appointed us general manager of the universe, and we do not have to accept the responsibility of personally solving many, if any, of its vast problems. Nor are we required to worry about how others, who have been elected, selected, or employed for such purposes, manage situations that only remotely affect us, if at all. Certainly, we should not physically or even mentally plunge into every crisis that does not involve us. There will be enough that do. We need to learn and practice the gentle art of letting alone. Now, what about the other way we cause our own troubles? 2. Unnecessary reaction or overreaction. Almost everyone has a built-in instinct to react. Human reaction is not always a cause of trouble. It can be the cause of much happiness. Human reaction ranges from the highest degree of ecstasy to the most violent degree of hatred. We will limit our discussion here to some of the trouble-escalating forms of reaction and overreaction, especially our responses when our feeling of importance, real or imagined, is demeaned or attacked. Our natural instinct is to defend our feeling of importance, using whatever means we think appropriate, ranging from sarcastic, insulting, or threatening responses, written, oral, or even implied, to physical attack, overt or covert. Thus, we escalate trouble, and if we overreact, we magnify it at the same time. Our adversary then becomes our enemy and, in turn, reacts or overreacts accordingly. What started as a spark is fanned into a blaze, which becomes a serious fire and finally an inferno. Why? because we unnecessarily reacted or, worse, overreacted. The way to prevent escalation of trouble is not to escalate it yourself. Just because somebody starts the fire of trouble, you don't have to pour gasoline on it. In fact, you will do better to do nothing. Then it will remain your adversary's fire to burn his own fingers in the tending. The best reaction to would-be troublemakers is to completely ignore them. Nothing is more diffusing to another's explosive temper than total indifference. As a response to an affront, indifference is much more effective than indignation. It ends the quarrel. A quarrel cannot be one-sided. But make sure your indifference is genuine. You must truly feel indifferent, both for your own peace of mind and to be able to express your indifference with a disarming lack of response. Counting to 10 or even 10,000 while you are boiling inside will do little good. You must genuinely ignore the matter so that it is clearly too insignificant for you even to notice. Never react or overreact in anger. If you do not get involved, you cannot escalate a quarrel. Completely ignore it. The way to avoid most troubles is to apply the gentle art of letting alone. And specifically, which situations should you let alone? Here are two of many examples. Use this simple test. Ask yourself these questions. If you would carry out the action considered, A. Would you threaten to cause loss? Any threat invites an antagonistic response, but the threat of loss provokes instant hostility. People will compete for gain, but they will fight to avoid loss. Never do, say, or write anything that threatens to cause loss to another. Let it alone. B. Would you belittle another's feeling of importance? This chapter has warned against reacting offensively to such a situation, but the odds are that another will respond with often a surprising degree of antagonism to any demeaning of his precious feeling of importance. If you cannot add to another's feeling of importance, let alone. These are just two of many examples of situations to which you should apply the gentle art of letting alone. It would be constructive and rewarding for you to complete the list for yourself.